Good morning. Welcome to the Board of Education meeting. We were in executive session. And can I have a motion to bring us back to the public meeting at 11:31?
I move.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Could we stand for the pledge? Okay, President's report. I don't have a whole lot. We are just coming back from a very energetic and vibrant opening day. It was great. Thank you so much. The board attended the opening day starting at 8 a.m. where we welcomed all 10-month and 12-month employees back to our district. And we just want to say thank you to everyone who have been working around the clock to make sure we are ready and prepared to welcome our students next Tuesday, September 2nd. And that's it.
Okay, great. Thank you, Kelly. And so we're going to move into,
Yep.
Right, that's right, yes. So I would like to move 1.1.2, be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby establishes the following committees as committees of the whole, which may include other members of the school community as designated by the Board of Education for the 2025-26 school year. Audit Committee, Communications Advisory Committee, Facilities Committee, Health and Safety Committee, Policy Committee, and Wellness Committee. Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? I just wanted to explain what we're doing here is that we're trying to give all board members an opportunity to learn and grow from being an active member of all of the board committees. In years past, what happened was we had only two board members assigned to each board committee, and if a third or a fourth one would like to attend, they were allowed to attend but did not have any speaking rights. And I felt like that was a little silly. As board trustees, I think it would be beneficial to all of our learning on the board to attend as many committee meetings as possible. And when you're there, you should be able to ask questions and make comments real time. And this is why we're making all of our board committees now the committees of the whole. Any other comments around that? You guys are excited about that, right? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And 1.2, Superintendent's report.
yes, welcome back, everyone. We're really excited to open our doors for our students next Tuesday. We have a bunch of new staff who are here. They were in a extensive learning experience last week to get ready to understand our culture and to become acclimated in their classroom. They all have seasoned faculty as mentors, and we were really excited to have them be a part of the team today. This morning, we also acknowledged our staff members who've been here for 25 years, so we will be sending out social media posts as well to congratulate them. And of course, Carla Giacomi, she was honored today for being here for 50 years. So
That is
we are
incredible.
grateful for our experienced teachers who are a part of our team, and we are excited to welcome a new class to the school district. Now, on today's agenda, we have multiple plans up for your consideration for adoption. I did a hearing at our last meeting on the district-wide safety plan without any real substantial changes. So the plan hasn't been altered since the last time you saw it. And then I'd just like Yasmin to share a little bit about some updates she made to the special education plan. And then I'll have Adam just do a brief summary of the counseling plan and the AIS plan. So, Yasmin?
So there were minor changes made to the special education plan. One of them is about the independent education evaluation, and we just made it in line with what is currently board policy. We changed some titles for the record of custodians We changed everything regarding 21 years of age and providing FAPE to students to 22 years of age. So that's reflected throughout the document. And then there were updates made to the educational classification tables at the back of the document, just to keep it in line and make it updated and current.
And then Adam?
Yes, we also have two additional plans, the K-12 counseling plan and the academic intervention services plan. Both of these plans are required by the state. They tend to be pretty like plain vanilla in that the state tells you what you need to have in the plan. And we basically just have our headings aligned to what's required to be in the plan. We try to make them detailed enough so they do act as, they're aligned to the practices with regard to MTSS and AIS. But we do make sure we have some flexibility. For example, we don't put in the like exact number that a student would score on a test to get an AIS service, just because that's a little bit of a moving target from year to year and cohort to cohort. So we leave that out, but we do talk about eligibility, communication with parents, et cetera. That's for the AIS plan. I'm getting a little ahead of myself. For the counseling plan, that one is approved annually by the board. And the real updates for this one is we updated it so it aligns more closely to the strategic plan. So we put in the things actually that Christine talked about today at the welcome back, things like increased opportunities for students to engage in narrative 4, expanding the advisory program at the high school, the things that would align to the kind of mission and vision of the counseling department as they support our students. So those are both in there. And the AIS plan actually gets approved every 2 years. So it wouldn't be back on the agenda next year, but the year after that, it would be back with revisions.
And where can one find this on the district website? Like, how do you tell us the tabs? Like, sometimes it's really hard to find it, understand like where it would be under.
Yeah, so the K-12 counseling plan is on the counseling website. So you could go, like, for example, to the Greeley counseling website or the middle school counseling website. You can find that counseling plan there. The academic intervention services is under the curriculum tab. So it has a sub tab underneath curriculum. That's where you'd find that. And we'll update them as soon as they're approved by the board. We'll put up the new plans.
Special education plan will go on the PPS website.
On the PPS website, okay.
Any questions? Okay. And then the policy committee had met and talked about how to support our students who are out there competing at the individual level on our academic teams and on our sports teams that require the district to sponsor them by affirming that we are supervising them when they're out in these experiences. So Kelly or Alyssa, did you want me to explain it, or did either of you want to talk about it? Okay, so we got the academic team paragraph at the top, and we have the athletic team paragraph on the bottom. So what we're suggesting, because our volunteer protocols and policies lie within the conflict of interest policy, is that we would allow parents to volunteer to chaperone their own children at their own expense in academic team competitions that require school district sponsorship of individual students. These competitions must be approved by the high school principal, must involve academic teams that currently exist at the high school, and the student must be on the team. Volunteer chaperones must be fingerprinted. New York State mandated child abuse training, have the New York State mandated child abuse training in an educational setting, and approved by the Board of Education in advance of the competition. Okay, that's number one. Now this is for parents that want to supervise their students who are competing in athletics. It's a little bit different because there's different requirements for coaches. So parents may volunteer to serve as volunteer athletic coaches for school district varsity programs at their own expense for individual competitions involving their own children, provided the competitions are approved by the high school principal and require school district sponsorship of individual students. To qualify, the student must be on the varsity team roster. Volunteers must be fingerprinted, meet the same New York State training requirements as varsity coaches, which includes mandated child abuse training in an educational setting, and receive Board of Education approval in advance of the competition. I'll give you two examples, real examples. So we have students that are on the debate team, and some of the competitions they attend in different states, all they need is a letter from us saying that they're enrolled and in good standing. But there are other competitions that say we are in charge of chaperoning them. So by approving their parents as chaperones, they can now compete. Without that, we would have to send a staff member to chaperone them. And that model is not sustainable for us. We've worked through that last year, but now it's time to change. For our students, you could have potentially a runner that maybe is like the best runner in the state who would like to participate in a competition down south. He can't enroll in the competition unless we send a coach. It's one of the requirements. And so we would appoint one of his parents as the coach, provided they do everything our coaches need to do to be a volunteer. And we don't have very many volunteers appointed. And then we would allow his parent to serve as a coach for this particular event only at the parent's complete expense. But we have to have some criteria in here where that, so we don't have like all these requests coming in that feel detached from what we're trying to accomplish. So we're attempting to create that criteria within the policy. Any questions about that?
And we talked about this, and the reason why we can't have their regular main coach go with them to these competitions is because
Two reasons. One, often these competitions are during the school week and our coaches are teachers. And the second is that in order to send our employees to these competitions, there's a cost associated with that. And that's not an appropriate use of our funds. But we don't want to impact opportunities for our students when this requirement is necessary in order to enroll in the competition.
So, and the sports are more often than not, these are going to be individualized, right?
All individual.
So like a golfer or a tennis player. Yeah, I mean,
Now we're going to
and they would not be able to participate if they're not associated with the school. They can't travel there individually. So that's why.
right. So if they could, we wouldn't do this.
Sure.
Like they would have to send us documentation that requires us to send a chaperone or a
Got it.
coach. And then we're going to use this policy, but you would have to approve who's going. And so one of the things that we discussed as a committee is it might make sense in this moment to move this forward in terms of like a first reading and an adoption, because we have some students, this is time sensitive.
But it doesn't necessarily need to be their parent,
It
correct?
has to be their parent.
It has to be their
Yes.
parent. Okay.
A parent can't take like a group of kids. It's
No,
one
no, no.
parent.
I know, but you know, if both parents were working, there's no uncle or
No, it's gotta be
it's got to be their parent. Okay.
Because you're approving their chaperones.
Got it.
Now, I feel like once we start rolling here, people might ask for us to expand this, revise this. And those are probably good conversations to have once we lived with this for a little bit. Also, I think I got to put a HAB in there. It doesn't change the document, but it should meet, volunteer chaperones must be fingerprinted and have New York State mandated child abuse in the settings. We'll just have to make sure that we do that when we finalize the policy, like right there. Just fix that error. Any questions about this?
And do parents who want to become volunteers, they have to go through obviously a number of hoops to do that? How do they start that process?
Right now, we know who they are. So we're going to work with them specifically. And then as the high school get requests, they will help support parents navigate this.
Is there any liability to the district if an injury or something occurs to one of our students or chaperones when we've designated them to attend one of these events?
So because they're acting on behalf of the district, the umbrella of our insurance would be part of the consideration if anything were to occur in an event, and we would need to respond. And we also work through this with our attorney. Josh, would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So then on the agenda today, sorry, we're readopting we're revising some of our policies that we had a first reading on last week, none of which we received any feedback that resulted in an adjustment. But we also are sunsetting 2 policies. And I've been talking about in the past few meetings how our equity policy was reviewed by the policy committee and then our community culture and belonging team. And that over the summer, our community and culture and belonging team, instead of revising the policy for your consideration, really wanted to take a different approach. And we've discussed ways we can continue our work and increase the positive visuals around the school district rather than try to reconstruct something that is living within the policy documents in the Board of Education's space. And so instead of spending our time doing that, our goal was really to create affirming statements for our students so that when they walked into our buildings, they would know that they are welcome here and to enter, as who they are. And so our conversations kind of centered around, the acknowledgement, particularly our older students, about the divisive imagery out there in the world. And that, we could take action ourselves by creating our own images and messages for our students. And so this is what we came up with by level, based on feedback from our staff and from our student focus groups that we ran over the summer. So our plan now, to get all of our kids back in, and our teachers are going to work with them to create visual representation centered on our affirmative statements that we've created together. So these are all stock images that we came up with our first try, just to kind of get moving in this direction. But now we're going to work with our students to place some artwork in our class by level around our statements of belonging. So this is what our suggestion is, and this is the work that we've done over the summer. And so when we reaffirm your policies today, you're not going to see the equity policy on there. And we also, the policy committee removed a different policy because some resolution placement. We noticed that there was a resolution on political meetings, and because we have revamped our public order policy, how you conduct yourself in our public spaces, the policy committee recommended we not place that on for re-adoption as we move into the new school year. So any questions on that?
Are those elementary, middle, high, or?
So like the middle, I don't know if it's Severn Bridges and Bell in the middle.
Oh, I did not get that. You said that.
Hopefully
I did not put that together.
but I'm hoping the kids will come up with something better, right? And then the left is the elementary school, and then the right is the high school. So
I'm just sorry. I don't know.
I think it's gonna be great to see what our students come up with. No, I'll give that feedback to the design group. Okay.
On the teeth.
Now,
Okay.
now I'm seeing it.
I need to move on here. I don't know. Okay. So then, Josh, can you talk or share a little bit about the Healthy Kids contracts on the agenda?
They at all three of the days to work that, and then the second contract that they are provider. We have 36 that is held contractually, that is provides the teachers for service, and they also provide university. And they work in competition. How do you talk this for?
Any questions?
Josh, how many kids are in the universal pre-K, and how many kids are in the aftercare and before care?
So the universal is 36 students.
And how many kids applied for those spots?
100 also.
100? Yeah. 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 Okay.
And while you're looking for that, I think Healthy Kids, it's their first time contracting with the other piece, right? Universal pre-K.
Well, this is the second year, yeah.
Last year. Okay.
It's their first time in Grafflin.
Okay, it's the first.
Well, after school and before school care.
So we have 6 veterans.
So we'll have to talk about moving into next year
Mhm.
once because remember, for those of you who are joining us this year. We had discussed, if we should expand it or not, but there was such uncertainty around the budget federally. We hit the pause button and replicated. So we'll talk more this year about whether or not we want to add more classes and potentially have spaces in other schools based on the demand, which is pretty significant.
And the number of kids in the before and after school, did you say that right?
That's like rolling. Like people can sign up like on a daily, like for the day.
Oh, you don't get shut out of that anymore?
Oh,
than
no,
you
no,
used to?
no.
Okay.
Alyssa, part of the contract is they have to take everybody.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, great.
That was a
That was the problem with
major,
it
Yeah, like
Um,
if I'm in a pinch and I need to send my kids early that day, like you could just, as long as you're enrolled, you can sign up and send. them.
and there's no race to enroll. Everyone can enroll
Yeah.
who needs it. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I'm about to wrap up here, but I
Give my
do
Really kid?
want to, there's no really care. I do want to, we had our opening day this morning and it takes many, the work of many to help support our opening ceremony in a way that is engaging and fun and honors people who really deserve it and highlights like what the work is ahead. And so I do want to just start by or end by thanking Noah, our 12th grade student who did a tremendous amount of work, not only as our host, but behind the scenes creating videos. He was here all last week, working really hard to make this a special event for our staff. And his words at the end about being so excited about being a senior and being here in Chappaqua were just a perfect way to kind of end the day and kick off the new school year. So I do want to thank him and all the students who came today, and our first grader from Roaring Brook, Albert, who played an amazing rendition of Your Heart Will Go On, the Titanic. It was great. And then we had so many staff behind the scenes just trying to work together to make it all happen, including our CCT leadership. And so it was really a collaborative effort. And so I want to thank all of those pieces. And of course, Kayla, your words today were really inspiring for helping us kind of set the stage for what we hope will be a fantastic and amazing school year. And so it's coming next Tuesday. Everyone's coming in. We've got our new orientation happening here at Greeley with our freshmen coming first and our 10th and 12th graders coming after. And I'll have Sandy give you an update when she's talking about the high school presentation about how that worked. And you can see all the opening events, meet the coaches nights, and then our first open house is on September 10th. And I know that we have some of our board members welcoming some kindergartners into our school district at 1:00 today. So it's just really exciting. And I'm looking forward to all the good things that are going to be happening this school year. So thank you. And that is the end of the superintendent's update.
Great, thank you. And now it's time for committee reports. We had our policy meeting, but we went over some of the policies we looked at. Do you want to share some of the other ones, Alyssa or Christine? I have them here in a stack. It was a stack.
Yes, so I can just, Alyssa, would you like me to? Sure. Okay, so on the agenda tonight, we're recommending you adopt, of course, the code of conduct and the associated attachment, and we'll be sending that out either today or tomorrow to the whole community. We're also asking you to consider adopting the maintenance of public order on school property, which really ties to adult behavior and our code of conduct. We have some adjustments to the student clubs where we've linked, and the outside speakers where we've linked expectations around who's coming into our mission statement now. And then Regulation 700 sets the schedule of fees for community use, and so we're asking you to consider adopting that regulation as well. And then we'll come up with a process where people can rent our portable lights, which I think will be great. And then you can see, other than our policies, the other plans that we talked about tonight are on here. And then the conflict of interest policy is on here with a first reading and a recommended adoption with that slight little grammatical error. And then you'll see all the policies that we have up here that are not in the beginning end. We're asking you to adopt an update that we're asking you to reaffirm. And then we ask you to reaffirm the regulations associated with them.
Okay.
Okay?
And then the 3.9, it was regulation 7,000, right? Not 700?
Oh, yeah, did I
Okay.
say 7,000? Yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
7,000.
Okay.
I missed a zero.
Okay. Any questions or comments around that? Okay. So that, I guess, is really the end of the committee reports because nobody else met yet. We move on to public comment period. We welcome public comments, and in respect for each other's time, we ask that you limit your comments to 3 minutes. Board members may be contacted via email or phone. After the public comment period has been completed, board members may have a discussion amongst themselves regarding comments presented. There is nobody here in the audience, so no public comment. Moving on to item number 3, approvals and ratifications. So can I have a motion for items 3.1 and 3.2? It's approving the minutes of the August 7, 2025 board meeting and approving the minutes of the August 18, 2025 special board meeting.
I'll move.
May I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
And I would like to take, can we take, Lisa, could we take 3.3 all the way to 3.14 together?
You can if you wish.
Okay.
I feel like you may wish to do these individually.
Okay. Okay. So let's do this. May I have a motion to move 3.3? Be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby adopts the 2025-26 District Safety Plan.
I'll move.
Second? All in favor? Aye. Item 3.4, Policy 5030, Student Code of Conduct 2025-26. It will be the second reading and adoption. Be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby adopts Policy 5030, Student Code of Conduct for the year 2025-26. Can I have a motion to move item 3.4?
I'll move 3.4.
May I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussions or comments on the Code of Conduct? Christine, anything? Okay, anything that, one thing I would like to say is I'm really appreciative how we are moving towards, every year we need to look at this as a board, and we are moving toward less suspensions and not more detentions, but less suspensions and detentions as an option, so that it's not startling and shocking to families and students, especially at the younger years of their school life. So I appreciate that. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 3.5, attachment to Policy 5030, Student Code of Conduct 2526, second reading and adoption. Be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby adopts attachment to Policy 5030, Student Code of Conduct 2025-26. May I have a motion for 3.5? Second? Any questions, comments? All in favor? Aye. Okay. Item 3.6, Policy 7025, Maintenance of Public Order on School Property, second reading and adoption. Be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby adopts Policy 7025, Maintenance of Public Order on School Property. May I have a motion for 3.6?
I'll second.
Any comments, questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item 3.7, Policy 5105, Student Club, second reading and adoption. Be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby adopts Policy 5105, Student Clubs. May I have a motion for item 3.7?
I'll move.
A second? Comments, questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Item 3.8, Policy 4070, Outside Speakers, sponsored by school-affiliated organizations, Chappaqua PTA, Greeley Sports Boosters, and Friends of Greeley Theater. Second reading and adoption. Be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby adopts Policy 4070, outside speakers sponsored by school-affiliated organizations such as Chappaqua PTA, Greeley Sports Boosters, and Friends of Greeley Theater. Can I have a motion for 3.8?
I'll move.
Second? Okay, Allison? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, 3.9, we're getting there. Regulation 7,000, schedule of fees for community use of district facilities, 25-26. This is the second reading and adoption. Be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby adopts Regulation 7,000, schedule of fees for community use of district facilities, 2025-26. Can I have a motion?
I will move.
Second? Any comments, questions? I'm very thankful for raising some of the prices because we need to. I'm also thankful that it is a nominal raise. I'm sure everybody else is thankful for that. And I'm thankful that we have moving lights to be rented out. So kids could practice late into the night. Or later,
But not
I
too
should
late
say.
on a school night.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
How do I rent that clock? Yeah. Yeah, that was amazing.
Oh, okay. Item 3.10, be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby adopts Chappaqua Central School District Special Education District Plan for the 2025-26 school year. May I have a motion?
I'll move.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item 3.11, be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby adopts the Chappaqua Central School District Academic Intervention Services, AIS Plan for the 2025-26 school year.
I'll
May I have a
move.
motion? May I have a second? All in favor? Aye. 3.12, be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby adopts the Chappaqua Central School District Comprehensive K-12 Counseling Program for the 2025-26 school year. May I have a motion for 3.12?
I'll move.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item 3.13, Policy 3012, Conflicts of Interest, first reading and adoption. And Christine explained why we are recommending that we waive the second reading and just adopt it today because of the time issue. Be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby waives second reading of Policy 3012, Conflicts of Interest, and be it further resolved that upon the first reading of this policy as presented at this meeting, the Board of Education hereby adopts Policy 3012, Conflicts of Interest. May I have a motion?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay. Item 3.14. I'm not reading all of those numbers. All of those numbers as written, the Board of Education reaffirms the following policy for 2025-26 school year. And be it further resolved that the Board of Education hereby reaffirms all current regulations related to the policies above. I'll move that. May I have a second?
I will. Oh, go ahead.
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, item number 4, recommended action.
I recommend 4.1 instructional as presented.
Anyone want to move 4.1 as presented?
I'll move.
I will second.
Any questions, discussions around that? I did have just one, could you remind us how the points are determined under whether it's coaching or advisory? How do we determine that? Because all the point system is different.
So around the point system for student clubs, you'll see Horace Greeley High School and their number of clubs there and point allocations. That's actually done by contract with the building leaders and the CCT through their FAC, Faculty Advisory Council, to make a determination of point system. And there's some guidance in the contract upon maximum responsibility, medium and minimal responsibility, and they do that once a year. And then once the points are decided, we advertise those positions for people to apply.
Okay, great. Any other comments or questions? Under 4.1? No? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Did we move? 3.1.
0130 from your reaffirmed policies. So you need to rescind the motion
Okay,
to approve
okay.
and then reapprove.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to rescind 3.14. May I have a second?
I'll second that.
And we're doing this because we forgot to take something out.
We forgot to take something out.
Okay, so we're fixing that. So,
And so now you would approve it as amended.
so do we,
You make a motion to approve as amended.
but we didn't vote on the rescinding?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. Now, I would like to make a motion to approve 3.14 as amended. Can I have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. Great, thank you.
I recommend 4.2 non-instructional as presented.
I'll move 4.2.
Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. That brings us to 5, recommended action. Use of the consent agenda permits the Board of Education to make more effective use of its time by adopting a single motion to cover those relatively routine matters which are included. Any member of the board who wishes to discuss individually a particular piece of business on the consent agenda may so indicate, and that item will be considered and voted on separately, thus preserving the right of all board members to be heard on any issue. It is recommended that the Board of Education approve the following consent agenda as submitted by the Superintendent of Schools. Okay, so, hold on, I'm just looking at the revised version. Can I have a motion to move 5.1 through
2, 3.
5.23?
I will move.
May I have a second? Would anybody like to take anything off the consent agenda? Okay, no. Any comments or discussions on any of the items, 5.1 through 5.23?
Did you want Andrew to talk about the recertification of the
Yes,
PPR? Okay,
that would be
Andrew.
great.
So you want me to talk about the 5.19, 5.20 and those? Sure. So the state asks us to indicate that all of our lead evaluators are properly certified. They actually asked that to be done at the very end of August. So we're about to submit that to them for the preceding year. So these are all certifications for the 24-25 school year.
Yeah.
And you'll see differences here where 5.19 is around certifying lead evaluators, and the names under that are administrators that were new to their roles or new to the district that went through a full certification process through BOCES in the fall to be in that position.
Okay.
The rest are our district and building administrators, and the next piece are re-certified. So we do this by ensuring that they understand the process, the rubric, the natures between the different rubric scores, the content of that. We've worked around a consistent process of conducting all of our evaluations in terms of the notes we take, the questions that we ask during the pre and post observation, and that is done in a timely way in adherence to our plan. And then 5.21 is for the recertification of lead evaluators for building principals, and you'll see it's the 4 assistant superintendents, and so you would be wondering why is Jamie Edelman on there? It's because this is certification for last year's, and we have been traditionally done this at the end of the year to ensure that if we have any changes in personnel that have come up during the year, that we're certifying once. It's due to the state at the end of the year right now, and that's been our practice to explain how we got to these lists.
Okay.
So then Yasmin will be getting certified right now.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so then they cannot then be building evaluators until they are certified or recertified? Or does it transfer over, like if you come from somewhere else, how does that work?
Sure. So with, for instance, with the certification of like you say, Christina Maurizio, who's a high school assistant principal, she was already existing in an administrative role where she was observing teachers in Connecticut. So when she
Okay.
came from Connecticut over here, we went through the full process to make sure she was certified. The rest of the folks, we do this in-house in the beginning of the year, where we do some training. I actually went to the full recertification training myself when I became into this new role to make sure I was experiencing what anybody new to thing would experience, and I can take that knowledge and make sure we're up to date on our work here that we do right now before we start up evaluations that are really in October.
So why do we do this process at the end when it's like the year has already gone by?
I know, I think we could probably swap it around, but it's what we've done traditionally, and I don't know the origins of it because I didn't start
Well,
it, but what it does,
I can, because
Yeah.
sometimes, people need to go out during the year on leave, or we have staff changes, and it's important that anyone that does an evaluation is approved and certified. And so that's why typically school districts wait until the end of the year.
Okay. So then, people who are not, for first time being certified, you don't evaluate until you are certified, then?
yeah, what I would say what we, did in one case is while someone was going through the certification process at BOCES was actually shadowing the principal on the principal's evaluation as part of the training and was holding off until that was complete before
Okay.
they did their evaluations.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Did you
Any
want,
other?
did you want Josh to talk about the 5.3, the bond anticipation note?
Yes, did I mention that?
And then Josh, can you also talk about the final AS contract for BOCES?
So, we took out an anticipation note last year, that had a principal payment of $145,000 as part of it. Rather than allocate district funds to that, we utilized the capitalized interest that we were earning on that money while it was in the bank before we spent it to pay for that principal. So last year, we transferred over $2 million into the debt service reserve in 24-25. So for 25-26, to pay that principal, we transferred $145,000 of that out to pay it, so it didn't impact the budget.
Okay, great.
And then 5.22, oh, I'm sorry, did you do the?
5.13
Sorry.
is in the beginning of the school year, we enter into an agreement with BOCES that includes all of the services that any BOCES provides us. Sometimes there's three buckets. Either there's no cost associated with that because it hasn't made its way to them through a cross contract. We've added services for special education students, and arts and ed was signed up for, or additional services that we've agreed to in part one. Now what they're reconciling all the finances, so the board needs to approve the end of year finances for the final BOCES bill as a contract to pay that bill for the end of the year.
Okay, great, thank you.
And then the last thing, Kaylee, I know you wanted me to talk about was the SMOA.
Yeah.
So in the new teacher's contract, they have a deadline of June 1st to let us know if they plan on enrolling their children if they're tenured. But because we were transitioning from the new to the old contract, we had someone miss the deadline. And so in their contract, in order to enroll their child, there needs to be an agreement between the district and the CCT approved by the Board of Education, and also in talking amongst our team, we used to have a nurse department chair, and for some reason that wasn't advocated for in the contract negotiation process, but we need it, and so we've added that position back into the unit if the board's okay with it. So that's what the SMOA is.
Great. And we have 9 nurses in the district.
Yeah.
I know that. Okay, great, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Moving on to item 6. Be it resolved that the Board of Education acknowledges the receipt of the following contracts approved by the superintendent per Board Policy 6085, which is purchasing and bidding. So we have 6.1, an agreement for professional development services with All Points Licensed Behavior Analyst. 6.2, a consultant agreement with BioBus. 6.3, a consultant agreement with Christopher, I'll just say O. And 6.4, another consultant agreement with Stephanie Butler. And 6.5, a consultant agreement with Thomas K. And I think some of these are the outside evaluators for our sports teams?
So in the CCT contract, we have a provision that our teachers who are not connected to the students in the sports they're trying out for, but have significant experience, or if they're physical education teachers, can serve as third-party evaluators. If we don't have enough teachers to fill that role, then we have sought outside evaluators through connections with Jamie Block. Everyone gets this paid the same amount, and it's noted in the CCT contract, so that's what you see on here. So we have a mix of our teachers and outside consultants doing the third-party evaluations for athletics. I'd also like to note the bio bus there.
Yes.
That is going to be amazing.
What is that?
That is, this is a good question. That is a traveling lab, and so we're going to bring that traveling lab to Greeley, and then hopefully some of our partners would be interested in funding that lab in the elementary and middle schools. It's really an exciting science opportunity, so that's on the agenda. That is on the agenda for your acknowledgement as well.
Okay. Can I have a motion for item 6.1 through 6.5?
I will move.
May I have a second? Any other questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, brings us to item 7, facilities. Be it resolved that the Board of Education acknowledges receipt of change orders approved by the superintendent per board policy adopted at the June 14, 2017 Board of Education meeting. Okay, 7.1 is a change order for Neighbor Electric Corps, and a 7.2 is a change order for Bertucci Contracting. May I have a motion for item 7.1 and 7.2?
I'll move.
I will
Sorry.
second. Any questions or comments? Josh, do you want to just explain? I'd like to kind of go over the change orders so people understand what's happening.
So the first one was when we needed to increase the size of the pad at Warrenbrook. There, from kind of required that, there needed to be some bush removal and tree trimming that was outside of the scope of neighbor's work originally. So there's a change order for them to complete that work. And then the second one was some site conditions at the elementary school and middle schools for poking holes for the pipes in the roof to get the air conditioners on top of the roof and the pipes into the building. So those are the two change orders that occurred on this one. And then I'd just say we expect some more in the next board meeting as we've had that sort of work happening over the course of the summer.
So can you just also clarify, what does it mean when this original resolution was adopted in 2017? So that was a contract?
Yeah,
Was
the
it
board had adopted a resolution in 2017 to allow the superintendent to sign change orders under a
Oh,
specific
yes.
value.
You know, I think I asked the same question last time, and you answered the same answer, and then I asked the same question. Sorry, but thank you again. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. 8, financials. 8.1, be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby acknowledges receipt of the Claims Auditor's Report for July 2025. I will move. 8.1,
I'll second.
comments, questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Item 9, notice of future meetings. It is Wednesday, September 17, 2025, 7 p.m. We will have the district performance report, and it will be held here at Horace Greeley High School in the Academic Commons. And then after that, it'll be Wednesday, October 8, 2025 at 7 p.m., the audit approval, and it will be here again at Horace Greeley High School in the Academic Commons. Okay, item 10. Can I have a motion to adjourn the public meeting at 12:19 p.m.?
I will move.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.